Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today we're jumping right into Key Glock's latest album, Glockaveli.
Big release. And there's that Billboard interview that dropped alongside it, giving some context.
Exactly. So if you're looking to get up to speed fast, understand the artist, the music, without reading the whole thing, well, that's what we're here for. We've pulled out the key stuff.
And Key Glock, I mean, he's been a force in Memphis rap since, 2017 Glock season.
Right. And known for those solo albums, no features. Built a really loyal following that way.
For sure. And you can't forget Let's Go from Glockoma 2 last year. That song was massive.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely unavoidable. So now we've got Glockaveli. It dropped Friday, May 2nd, 2025. And that title, Glockaveli. It's obviously a play on Tupac Machiavelli.
Yeah, and apparently that's very intentional, not just a whim.
Okay, so tell us about that, because it seems like this idea has been around for a bit.
It really has. He said in the interview that the whole Glockaveli concept, even down to getting a chain made for it, was something he and Young Dolph actually came up with back in 2020.
Wow, 2020.
Yeah. The plan was for it to come after Yellow Tape, but then, as he put it, stuff happened and it got put on hold.
Right, understandable.
So he mentioned that the time off he took last year felt like the right moment to actually bring it back. He framed it as a kind of rebranding, a rebirth. Sort of like how Pac adopted the Machiavelli name.
That makes sense. A deliberate shift. And the Tupac connection itself, that runs deep for him, doesn't it?
Sounds like it. He said his mom actually introduced him to Tupac's music. He was like 8 years old.
Oh, wow. Early days.
Yeah. And he even sampled some Pac on this new album, Glockaveli. So the influence is right there in the music, too.
But that title hasn't just been universally praised, has it? There's been some chatter.
That's true. He did talk about getting some pushback, but interestingly, he clarified it's not really about people comparing him to Tupac artistically.
Oh, so what's the issue then?
According to him, it's coming more from religious angles. His words were super Christians who have a specific interpretation of the name Machiavelli itself.
Huh. Okay, so it's less about the music history and more about, well, something else entirely.
Seems that way, yeah. It adds another layer to how people receive it.
He also mentioned feeling like Tupac was sometimes just labeled a thug, kind of overlooking the artistry, and he was asked if he feels pigeonholed similarly. He used the word overlooked.
Right, overlooked. And his reason why is pretty interesting.
How does he say?
He didn't really pin it on his music or lyrics. He suggested it might be because he's maybe not the friendliest artist towards other artists in the scene.
Ah, okay, so it ties back to that independent streak he's known for.
Exactly. It really lines up with how he operates.
That independence is definitely a core part of his brand. Okay, let's shift a bit to the actual sound of Glockaveli. How did he approach the beats, the production?
Well, he took a really hands-on personal approach with the beat selection this time.
Oh, yeah? How so?
He said he actually picked out a lot of the samples himself, and specifically samples from songs he remembers hearing as a kid.
Like what kind of stuff?
Blues and soul, mostly. Stuff his grandma and uncles would play. So real foundational music for him.
Okay, that's cool. So he finds these samples.
Yeah, and then he takes them to his producer and lets them add their own, spin to it.
Gotcha. So it starts with his memory, his feeling, and then gets built out.
Pretty much. It sounds like a way to really weave his personal history into the music directly.
That makes a lot of sense. Now, you mentioned his independence, and that obviously connects to the whole no features thing on his solo albums. He's really stuck to that.
He has. Fiercely independent, as you said. But he did clarify something about that in the interview.
Oh, what was the clarification?
Sometimes people took his past comments to mean he never does features, period. But he explained it's more specific.
Got it.
He meant he doesn't put features on his own albums. He wants those projects to be purely him. But he's actually open to featuring on other people's songs.
Ah, right. That's an important distinction. Makes sense. His albums are his vision, solo.
Exactly. It's not about shutting everyone out, just keeping his main projects focused.
So where did that initial drive, that commitment to keeping his albums feature-free come from? Was there, like, a specific moment?
There kind of was, yeah. He talked about an early career situation. He was meant to be on a remix for a song called Russian Cream.
Okay, I remember that track.
Right. And, well, it didn't quite happen the way he thought it would. The opportunity sort of fizzled or changed.
Ah, one of those industry things.
Yeah. And he was clear, like, he doesn't dwell on it. He's obviously done well since then. But he did say that experience lit a whole other fire under him.
Like fuel, basically.
Totally. A real let me show you kind of motivation pushed him to prove he could do it on his own terms.
You definitely hear that energy. And it's in the lyrics, too, right? That line from 3M in Tokyo.
I came in this world by myself. Pretty direct statement.
It really is. Which makes you wonder, does that level of independence ever feel, I don't know, lonely?
He got asked that pretty much directly, and his answer was just flat out, nah.
Just,
Yep. He said he doesn't feel lonely doing his own thing. Actually said the opposite. Those kinds of perceived slights, or just going it alone, it actually charges him up in a good way.
huh. So it energizes him instead.
That's what he says. Speaks volumes about his self-reliance, I think.
It really does. Okay, shifting gears slightly again. Glockaveli has some lines, pretty powerful ones, about the women in his life. His mom, his grandma,
Yeah, that line from The Grinch, Mama ain't raised no BH, definitely stands out.
for sure. So what did he say more broadly about how they influenced his upbringing?
He gave them huge respect, said his grandmother, great-grandmother, his aunt, they raised me good. No question about that.
Okay, but was there more to it?
There was a nuance. He added that while they gave him that strong foundation, they, quote, didn't teach me how to be a man.
Interesting.
Yeah, he framed that as something he had to learn himself, figure out on his own journey. Maybe implying, the absence of a consistent male figure showing him that specific path.
That's a really thoughtful point, acknowledging different kinds of learning and influence. Okay, so looking ahead now, he's had a lot of success. Is he feeling comfortable? Maybe complacent? What's the drive like now?
Definitely not complacent, according to him. He was pretty emphatic, said he's never satisfied, in a good way.
Always pushing.
Seems like it. Always wants to learn more, do better than before. And he actually credited his auntie and grandma for instilling that drive in him, that work ethic.
So their influence is still pushing him.
Absolutely. And he genuinely feels like he hasn't hit his peak yet, like his prime is still ahead of him.
That's a hungry mindset to have at this stage.
For sure. It keeps things interesting.
So when Billboard asked him, okay, what is the future for Key Glock? What's the big vision?
He kept it pretty open-ended, actually. Didn't lay out a grand plan.
Yeah.
He just said, only God knows that one, kind of leaving it up to fate or a higher power while still having that internal drive.
A mix of ambition and letting things unfold. Okay, so wrapping up this deep dive on Key Glock, Glockaveli, the interview, what are the main things people should really take away?
I'd say, first, understand that the Glockaveli title is really deliberate. It's that Tupac tribute, planned for years, signifying a kind of rebirth for him.
Right, the long game there.
Second, the sound is super personal. Those samples connect right back to his childhood, his family. It's not just random beats.
The connection to the blues and soul, yeah.
And third, that independence isn't just a gimmick. It's core to who he is, fueled by past experiences, and it drives his constant push for more. He's not resting on his laurels.
Exactly. Taking challenges, turning them into motivation, and just keeping that forward momentum. So thinking about all his focus on independence, that inner drive he talks about, it makes you wonder, doesn't it? For any artist, what do you think is the biggest thing that keeps that creative fire going and stops them from just getting comfortable?
That's a great question to chew on. Is it purely internal? Is it external pressure? Something else.
Definitely something to think about as you maybe go listen to Glockaveli now, keeping his journey in mind.
For sure.
All right, thanks for diving deep with us today.